Well, I can say finally that I have seen a Cronenberg movie. Of course, I'm talking, though, about Brandon Cronenberg, not his father, David Cronenberg. Let's talk about Infinity Pool. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new film Infinity Pool. This is in theaters now. It stars Alexander Skarsgard and Mia Goth and is directed by Brandon Cronenberg, son of the famed artistic director David Cronenberg. He, of course, is legendary for his sort of kind of bizarre directorial style and always doing something a little bit unique and different. And I can see why if his son's stamp kind of has anything to do with it. I actually have seen one David Cronenberg film. It was called Maps to the Stars with Julianne Moore. About, I don't know, 8 years ago or something, but I've never seen Eastern Promises or History of Violence or The Fly even. I guess I should see that at some point. That's a classic. But anyway, that was all sort of before I was reviewing movies all the time here, so I see many, many more movies now than I ever did, when those movies were out. So, in any event, this is an interesting one. Before we get into it, I want to welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding my video. Got a lot of great TV and movie reviews to check out. I try to post every day, or at least close to it. So usually there's 5 or 6 at least new videos every single week to check out on my channel. Please consider subscribing down below there or like this video. That helps the channel out as well. All right, let's get into this movie. So this, I didn't know what to expect going in. I had heard it was a horror movie, but I don't think that's really correct. I think there's definitely some horror elements to it. I think there's also some sci-fi stuff going on. And a lot of maybe thriller is in a more apt genre than straight up horror, because I just don't think that's true. But Mia Goth, is definitely making a name for herself as sort of the indie horror queen, or the hip horror. She had Pearl and X, and soon to be Maxine, which is the third in that trilogy. Both Pearl and X came out within a few months of each other. They were filmed at the same time. Maxine, I think, is filming now, or maybe they've just finished it. But anyway, Mia Goth, really starting to kind of make a name for herself in that world. And I can see why. She's certainly very pretty, but she's got this very, very kind of cutesy girl next door, on the one hand, but she's got this sinister streak that we've seen so far in some of those other movies, and we might see some shades of it here as well. But all right, the basic plot here for this is that this struggling writer, who's played by Skarsgard, who had like one hit book years and years ago, struggling to create a follow-up. He is on vacation with his wife, where they meet some people, a couple. Mia Goth is one of them, and there are soon discovered some dark secrets about the resort in which they are staying at. So this is a really weird movie. And it's one of these where the critics are kind of up here on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience is a little bit more middling, and I can see why, because there's a lot of things going on here that may not appeal to everybody. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure if they appealed to me either. There's definitely some weird stuff, but is it weird for weird's sake? That's something that I don't usually get into. I don't really like it in my music either. Like, I thought Radiohead kind of went in that direction for a while. I don't like the band Sonic Youth. Like, I just think being weird and making a bunch of random noises for noise's sake, it just doesn't appeal to me. And I know the Beatles did it too, on some of their records in the 60s. But it's just, I don't know. What is it saying? What is the purpose? Is it just to throw a bunch of weird shots together? Maybe. This is sort of like an Eyes Wide Shut kind of thing a little bit, this resort. And the deeper we kind of get into these characters, and the deeper we see, kind of what's going on, or do we actually see what's going on, or is it all sort of a ruse for something else? I will say I was never bored with this movie. That's for sure. It's certainly appealing in that sense that I was never quite sure what to expect, but the things that happen in this movie, I'm not sure that a lot of them add up to making sense, but also add up to giving us some sort of message, or what are we saying about ourselves or about society, or and I could sort of cherry pick certain things and say, okay, well, maybe this is what Cronenberg is going for, maybe he's trying to say this, but then it never quite goes all the way with any of those ideas. They're all sort of just splayed out. You can take them for what they are, and then we're going to move on to the next sort of idea or whatever. And I never just got a coherent sense of who these people are, why any of it is even happening, and they give us some detail about that as the movie goes on, and by the end they tell us some things, but I was not quite satisfied with what that entailed. I was like, well, it's hard to explain anything about this movie without really going into the details. But I have to say, it was certainly interesting to watch. I never felt bored by it. I never felt cheated that I had spent, an hour and whatever it is, 45 minutes, watching this movie. But by the end of it, I just sort of wondered, what actually was the point of that? And I still don't know. I actually waited to do this review almost a week after I watched it because I was mulling it over. And I'm still not positive. And look, there are definitely examples of movies that are like this that I don't quite, get at first or whatever, and then I'll watch a video or two that explains it, and then I'm like, oh, okay, well, that makes a little more sense. I have not done that with this movie yet. I usually don't until after I do a review, because I don't necessarily like to have my mind sort of, thinking about, okay, well, they said this, or whatever. I like to sort of just view the movie on my own accord and with my own brain, try and figure out, what they're saying or what the meaning is or what my thoughts on it are. So yeah, I'll look at the Rotten Tomatoes scores, but I don't like delve into the, what the critics actually said about it or whatever. But I can see why this is a more critically revered movie than with audiences. I can see a lot of people leaving this and just being like, what the hell did I just watch? Mia Goth, once again, very watchable here. She does a great job. But overall, this is just sort of a mess of a movie, but an interesting mess, I have to admit. So I am going to give it a slightly positive grade. And I don't know, maybe this could be improved upon either further viewing or even further research on what the movie was trying to say, because I'm not quite sure I got it. But there are many scenes that will certainly stick with me for a while. It's not one that I'm going to forget anytime soon. And I think that in itself, there is something to be said for that, even if the movie on the whole maybe didn't quite add up to much. And the characters were just so blah. I didn't really like any of them, and I don't think they developed at all, really. So, take that for what it's worth, too. But I'm going to leave Infinity Pool with a B-. I think there's actually some interesting things here. I don't know. It's definitely a thinker for sure. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see everybody next time on Dan Reviews It. Bye.